Good evening to our viewers. So welcome to Four Anglers, the digital platform that keeps fishing alive. And this evening, we are spoiling our English viewers a little bit. So with Supercast on the line, me and Schalk is going to do our best to entertain you in our best English, our Boere English. But we've got a Soti with us that is going to make it much easier. Schalk, to you and your team, welcome with us on the line with.
Thank you very much, Werner. It's one of our youngsters, Martin Delport, and if I can take the time just to introduce him properly, because I think that's a way to get the viewers to see, who we're talking to. At this stage, Martin's ranked 5th in the national ranking, so overall in South Africa, and he's ranked 2nd in the Premier division. So that's up with the top boys. That's the big boys now. So he's an up and coming young boy, still a youngster, nice guy, and he also made the Romania finals last year, and one of our top brand ambassadors, not only in fishing but also as a person. So yeah, Martin, welcome, and we're gonna throw a few things to you, and I know, out of your character, you're going to be brutally honest.
Oh, of course. Thank you very much, Schalk. Thank you very much, Werner. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, Schalk, so just to recap some of the viewers that might be new to the online on the line program, with Supercast, the series is about all the questions. You opened up your telephone lines, which was something brave-hearted, if I can almost say it like that. So in this lockdown period, you said to the guys, it's a specific period of time. I'm opening the lines. You can call me and speak to Schalk. And you were overwhelmed with telephone calls. You took the time to take out some of these the questions that the guys asked you. And we are handling them one by one in these Friday night program. So what is the topic that came out for tonight's discussion?
You know what, Werner, I think it's a very broad discussed thing, about what is enough dips, when do I flood the millibomb, when do I use a little bit of concentrates, and as you can remember, right in the beginning, we were also talking a bit of that, and I said, that everybody's got a character of how to apply dips, and I'm renowned and known for as a guy that doesn't dip a lot. But, there is times, and Martin I'm gonna ask him the question specifically, when does he use the big amount of dips, and when does he pull back on the dips? Because, there's different strokes for different folks. But as you can see from a result from Martin, there's a reason being for him doing what he's doing. So Martin, what I do want to ask is, when will you go and absolutely flood your millibomb? When are you not scared to throw the big concentrates, and when do you pull back, and why do you pull back? What's the reason for that?
100%. Thanks, Dr. Schalk. I think, you touched on it 100% and took the words right out of my mouth. Different strokes for different folks. Like you've openly admitted, you're someone that doesn't throw a lot of dip. I, on the other hand, I love flooding that bomb. I mean, you could pretty much scrape the dip off the floor. That's how much I end up putting on some days. But, to get to the question is when to put a lot of dip. And I've always believed throughout my angling career that if the wind is really, really strong out there, I believe there's a lot of movement under the water. And I think you need something really strong to attract those fish. And my belief is stronger wind, more dip. And that's when I do it. If I go back to the semi-final now at Wilmans for the Pro Romania last year, I started off with quite a lot of dip. It was a little windy in the morning, started off with quite a lot of dip. And the minute I got those fish on that pool, and they were going every 2 minutes, biting, I took the dip off because it takes time to put 3 different dips on the whole time. Took the dip off, went plain, and those fish were on that pool. Then it came down to accuracy, and I kept the fish there.
Martin, if I can ask you about this, and we've got a video on the screen, and I need you to just talk us through on the heavier application, and how do you go about, and what do you do?
Yeah, so this specific video over here, what had happened was I started it, that's my standard setup, it's an M0 with a plain white floaty at the bottom, plain white dough on top. My favorite combination in this specific video is Powder Bay Legend Sniper. I really enjoy the Legend Powder Bay combination. It's my go-to combination all the time. It happened now at the essays at the sloop as well. And I prefer to start this combination as much as possible. So what I end up doing over here is I put a lot of legend on the bomb. I cover the legend with the powder de bay, and I put a bit of sniper just to cover it all. So you'll see over here, it's quite a concoction, and it was very nice during this lockdown period to actually smell honey and powder de bay in your hands, because I miss it a lot. So this was quite fun. So yeah, this is definitely my go-to, and that's generally how I'll start every competition.
The question I have is, you're starting off with a legend here, and then you're covering the entire bomb with a legend, and then you start putting the others on. Why that way around?
What happened was, it was actually a Transnatal a couple of years back at UPlus, and I don't know, for some unknown reason, I grabbed legend and powder bay and I just put the legend on first. And that's the belief I've had. If I had to put powder bay on first there, I can guarantee I probably won't catch a fish. It's all in the mind, so it's always just got to be the legend first. That's how I've seen it and taken it.
I've seen this at a number of top anglers, and Schalk, maybe I must ask what you do as well, but I've seen that the fact that the legend goes on first, doesn't matter with what combination. I've seen it at a number of boxes where I've been at essays and at the Promanias and so forth. Schalk, what do you do if you fish legend and powder bay? How do you fish it?
While we were talking about this, I do exactly the same as Martin does, and I think the reason for that being is legend is not a heavy color. So I think it's all about the different colors, and then when you get to powder bay, it's a bit darker complexion. It's got a bit of fluorescence in. And then when you go to the sniper, it's actually the most fluorescent. So I think methodically we're trying to apply the colors on top. I think it's only a mindset. So there's, I would say there's, if I can say there's a chemical reaction happening, I think, it's not true. And I think that's the reason I always apply the least color first and then the top color. So that's only my heart. That's how I do it. And I think we taught each other a lot of things. And I think, if it's like Martin, when you were at UPlus, it just happened to work for you. So why change the wheel if it's round? So I think that's basically what happened.
Martin, if we go on with this, you do something else here as well. Just explain to us, what is this?
What I usually do over here is I take my top hook, which is mainly always plain sweet white dough, and I tend to rub the dough. And the reasoning behind this is 80 to 90% of the fish are never really caught on the top hook. So my bank is always my bottom hook bait. And generally starting off, it's always going to be a plain white or plain yellow floaty. In this case, it was a white floaty. But what I've also noticed is the minute I would do something very similar to this, and I'll just take the legend as an example, and I'll just rub it on the top hook. If the fish picks up the top hook on the legend, I now know legend is a caller to this specific combination, and I'll maybe put a legend floaty on and see if I can get the reaction on a floaty for the fish to eat it a lot quicker. I'll do it on the second cast and just put the powder bay on. Third cast, I'll just put a bit of sniper on the hook, just to see which of those three are the callers. Once I've got it, I nail it down, I put those floaties on, and it's, I tend to see what happens. It's just something small that I end up doing, and I noticed it, from on the line with a couple of the other guys, and they mentioned they do pretty much the same as well. So it's always something to consider.
Martin, if we take this combination now, and you're saying that when the wind is blowing, you tend to put more. Now, what we are seeing on the screen at the moment, is that more, or does it become even more in certain
It gets more. It does. In this specific video, I only had one hand available because I was holding it with the other cell phone. So if there was a cameraman, it would be a lot more. I'm also very fortunate to have the Supercast branding sponsored. So as you can see, I really enjoy throwing those tips. I've also mentioned, if you had to look at my work area, it gets pretty messy. If I drop water on the floor, it's just green from the fluorescent. So I really enjoy it. That to me is little.
Okay.
Just for the video purpose, I've just got to show you that there is millibomb.
Would there be cases where you take this whole lot and then put it into something else as well?
Yes, so specifically now at the last essays, we used a lot of custard powder. And what generally happens over here is sometimes the fish go a little quiet on the call. No matter how much dip you end up throwing, you can change it around. Custard powder or SA powder has just got something in it that just tends to react. I don't know what happens. It's just the fish tend to react a lot quicker to something like that. So if my pool goes quiet, I end up shaking custard powder, just put it back on and the fish are back.
Okay, but
it's a very nice types, the combination you're using from prying eyes.
Let's just pause a bit. You're talking about SA powder and custard powder almost in the same voice. So as an angler, when do I decide I'm dipping custard powder and when do I switch over to SA powder?
Really trial and error. Some people have preferences just with plain custard powder. Some people have preferences with SA powder. SA powder, I feel the real difference with SA powder is it's got green fluorescein in it or fluorescein in it. So if you may be targeting fish like grassies, the grassies are around, or you're looking at getting your quota yellowfish, shake it in the SA powder because those fish seem to be attracted to green fluorescein. You get that call on the go with those types of fish and you fill your quota up very quickly. On the other hand, I do prefer my custard powder a little bit more. It's just because I've got this bad hex over my head with regards to yellowfish. If I've got them there, I struggle to get them away. So I try to stay from the fluorescein.
Schalk, what is your view in terms of SA powder and custard powder?
Werner, as we've seen, with SA powder, especially when in dams like Bloemhof, when the fish really goes into that feeding frenzy, when you're shaking that SA powder, it just tends to explode. The more subtle dams, like maybe like the Wal Dam, Klipklif, those type of dams, koppies, I always use custard powder. I'm a very, very big, what's the right word?
Fan.
User of custard powder. I will do custard powder with every cast. The reason for that being is that you can do no harm, and the custard powder tends to clog with the concentrate. So that takes your flavors and your attractants down, and it makes that milkiness in the water, and I love that. And carp do like that, and it's normally a vanilla type of custard, the moist, and it's an awesome attractant. So you can't do any harm. You can, in actual fact, just do well with that.
Martin, so that's sort of your go-to in terms of what you showed us. And then when the wind starts blowing really hard, you go more, and you might even go to the SA powder and custard powder. Let's talk about the other side of the spectrum. When and how do you decide to go less, and how little will you go?
With regards to going less, I've always felt when the fish's metabolism slows, specifically in winter, the fish aren't actively feeding as much as what they do in summer months. And I feel that sometimes concentrate could scare them off. A lot of concentrate. You'll notice in this video, it was very hard for me to try and put drop by drop by drop. So I just ended up touching it, and that's what you would end up doing. Specifically over here, if this was the middle of July, this is how I would start one of my rods. I would just touch it with each drop, and it would just run down, and that's what I would end up doing over here. And it's just specifically if there's hardly any wind at all, and if you're in the middle of winter and the fish are just not actively feeding as much as what they do in summer. That's when I would take this approach. You'll see as well that the hook baits are also a lot finer. The dough is a lot smaller over here as well, and that's my application on approaching a winter month.
Now, with respect to that, let's just take the little or the less or the what. Okay, Martin, so when going less, when do I go 1 dip, 2 dip, 3 dip, 3 droplets, 1 droplet? What's the magic formula?
There we go, the magic formula. If there was such a thing, Uncle Werner, then I think we'd all approach the colors one time. But I think, touching again what Uncle Schalk said in the beginning, different strokes for different folks. I would still say each person has their own way, their own unique characteristics with regards to specific dips and the application of dips. Some people would put a dip running down the line. Some people would just touch the dips like I do. But what I would do again on the approach is I would just touch the top of the bomb, let it run down, and then there we go. Other people wouldn't do it at all. I mean, the country has got some really great anglers that don't believe in dips at all. And it's all really in your mind. It's a big mindset.
Okay, but we don't have the other people on the show. Now we've got Martin on the show. I want to know, how does Martin decide to use 1 dip or 3 dips?
It's just in my combinations. I've got a set list of combinations that I end up using at different venues. And, you know, I'll always start with that specific combination. If we look at Hardap Dam in 2018 as an example, you know, we would fish paint Kiana. And at the end of the day, we went all the way back down just to paint on the bottom. A little touch of paint. And it's just playing around throughout the day, just actively finding out what the fish actually wants. You're not going to put the same application for 4 hours if it's not working. So you're just going to continuously keep on thinking on your feet, put a little bit less, add some more. If things go quiet, add another dip. If things are too busy for you, take a dip off and see if the fish's tempo is still there.
Let's have a couple of real life examples. So I need your combination for summer and for winter at each of these dams. Okay, and you don't have time to think, eh? Valdam summer.
Sorry, Valdam summer.
Yeah.
Battle Bay Legend Sniper.
Valdam winter.
Paint Kiana.
Valdam muddies.
Chop Chop Quattro.
Klipdrift winter. Stay away.
PC. Slangworms.
Okay. We are talking dips, eh? Is that a new dip?
Sure, yeah, no, that's a tough one. I would actually say Devil's Fork FX. Keep it plain. Go straight back to basic.
Okay, Klipdrift summer.
Devil's Fork FX Rooigeep, yeah.
Trigardsfontein summer.
Klipdrift.
Trigardsfontein winter.
Devil's Fork FX.
Grootdraai, I don't want to catch yellows.
Yes, that's a tough one. Look, that's
okay,
quite a difficult one.
Let's start on the easy side. Grootdraai, I want to get my 10 yellows full.
I would flood that bomb full of Quattro and put Sniper.
Okay, now my quota's full. I don't want to catch any more yellows.
I would put a drop of Quattro and a drop of Sniper.
Okay. Okay, Bronchies, the wind is pumping.
Bronchies, wind is pumping, Devil's Fork FX, but I would flood the bomb with Devil's Fork.
Okay, good. Bloemhof Dam, no wind, in the middle of summer, mirror on the water, 35 degrees C.
All right, I would definitely go Quattro Sniper, just touches.
Okay, well, that's it. I hope you guys wrote it down, eh? Because this is what you need to do. That first instinct is what the real truth is. Schalk, anything that you would like to add or anything else you want to ask Martin?
Baron, I think, you could, by asking me these questions in a line, you can see that he's got a certain character when it comes to the dips. He's not jumping around. He's not going for the sky and then down to the ground. So Martin he's got his fixed ideas. He will go less or more. I think that's the answer there. And one thing that I can say about Martin is a very good caster. So he can throw very lightweight, very far. I think that's part of his methods. But you can listen to him. They don't jump around, and this is what I'm saying. He's got belief in himself, and belief is your number one dip in your box. So if you want to do something and your heart is there, you're gonna catch the fish. So yeah, and I just want to say one thing at the end of the day, Werner. That's the reason why I'm dipping so little, because there's nothing left after my sponsor guys has taken all dips from.
You're taking the scraps because they just put everything up.
Thank you, Uncle Schalk.
But I was waiting for that one answer, which was when I was talking about Grootdraai and no yellows. I thought he was going to tell me the best dip is 160 meters or something like that. So I just waited for that one. That's it. Martin, thank you very much for chatting to us. Thank you for the attitude that you have towards the sport and everything that you are putting in, and the passion. And that's one of the things that I see in Martin in terms of taking him quite far, is his confidence and his passion. And thank you for that. And please carry that over to everybody that you deal with in the angling world.
Yep, definitely.
Schalk, thank you. Thank you for Supercast for making it happen again and bringing some more questions to the table and having an open ear to what the anglers out there is asking for.
A big pleasure, Werner. Thanks for having us. Martin, thanks for spending time with us, and you guys are awesome.
Thank you very much, Uncle Scott. Thank you, Uncle Werner. I really, really appreciate the opportunity, and I really hope I've helped someone out there.
Any help is good to an ear that is willing to listen. You can talk as much as you want, but if you don't have an ear that is listening, then the penny doesn't drop. So thank you for everybody out there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with For Anglers, the digital platform that keeps fishing alive. And we were here on the line with Supercast on a Friday night. We see you again tomorrow night, same place, same time, 5:30, Saturday afternoon. And remember, you are awesome.